I think Riko's a terrible character. I think she's garbage. I think she gets better, but if she's our main character, we need to like her from the beginning.
Because episode 1, it was like, oh, okay, it's like we're getting back into the swing of things. There's some political talks going on. We're planning. Episode 2 is like, okay, oh, more planning and people talking. And episode 3, I'm like, oh, more planning, more talking. Episode 4, I'm like, we're still planning and talking. Like, it's 4 episodes in, and
if I were watching this as a weekly show back whenever this aired, I would have dropped it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Life is Daijoubu, episode 52. My name is Cole. I'm your host, and I've got Skylar over on the end with his blueberry shake.
Cheers.
Is it actually blueberry? I just kind of guessed because it was purple.
Blueberry.
Even though it's purple.
Got purple.
It's purple berry.
You got
Purple
Grimace.
berry.
You got Grimace birthday shake
You got
over there.
Grimace in your mouth. And I got Thane wishing he had Grimace in his mouth.
I've already tried that Grimace. It was
He had a little
it's
bit
like a berry vanilla thing. I don't know.
It wasn't good.
It was all right.
You don't want Grimace in your mouth anymore? I mean, I don't. I've never tried it. I don't really like blueberries, to be honest. And I'm assuming that's what Grimace is. He's a
that
blueberry,
was
right?
the Grimace. Yeah, he put his
blueberries in there.
He put his blueberries in there, and then I convulsed.
So
All
is
like the TikTok.
is he an actual blueberry? What's he supposed to be?
I don't know.
A sesame seed bun?
It's
Or
funny
not the
because
bun, but the seed.
Because like the word grimace means like that.
Yeah.
Like it's but
That's
he's
disgusting.
like smiling.
I always thought he was like a grease monster.
Yeah.
A grease monster?
So
Like
weird.
the
It's so
Fortnite.
weird. It's just such a weird thing they made. He used to be a villain. Like early.
Oh, I thought the Hamburglar was the villain.
Yeah, no. The first was Grimace, and then they introduced the Hamburglar. I think.
AI is trying to
Don't
tell
do
us.
the AI one.
What
Grimace.
is
I trust Wikipedia more than.
Grimace
a
is
milkshake? Okay.
the embodiment of a milkshake. I guess it's on brand with
On
them
two-
making the
they-
milkshake.
They declared that in 2012, but I want to know what.
Or a taste bud. That's what it was. That's what I remember people saying. He's a taste bud. Yeah, it's very,
large
very
purple
weird.
being.
Interesting. You know, speaking of the Google AI thing, I've seen
Yeah.
some funny things about people searching some stuff.
Oh yeah, I saw it too.
Let's see if it's still up there. Look up how to make pizza sauce. And if it's still up there, if it's not, I'll explain what it was. Okay, it's not showing up. They took it down for that one.
They take some down.
So
if it's not accurate.
what it used to say is that it used to recommend putting Elmer's glue in it so it could keep the
I
sauce
thought
stuck
was
to the
piece of
pizza.
cheese. I thought there was cheese.
Oh, could have been. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
it was- I think it was
at
the
one point it
cheese.
said glue, and everybody was like, "Huh?"
Well, I don't know if you guys knew, but on the pizza commercials, when they're pulling the pizza and it's
Yeah.
real stringy, they use glue to
Yeah.
make it that
That's
stringy.
Oh,
probably
yeah.
where they
'Cause
got
cheese
the
isn't
ans-
like
That's
that.
probably where
That's
they got
probably
the
where
answer
the AI
from.
got it. Yeah.
Well, actually, where they got it from was a troll answer, and he probably got that from that
Yeah,
fact.
fair. What I find is very funny is how quickly they took a lot of this stuff down. But it's also
Yeah.
sad that like Google just threw this up without really testing it thoroughly.
Yeah.
And people are gonna get like these bad examples
Yeah.
of
Like
what to
that-
do in
like
emergency
that-
crises.
Like that Google Gemini AI image editor, image what's the word I'm looking? Image creator, where it's like it would create the founding fathers, but as like black or Asian.
Oh,
Yeah,
I vaguely remember this.
yeah.
Was this
that
a while ago?
Yeah, this was a while ago, and when people saw it, they just like shuttered the whole thing because it was such a disaster.
Well, anyway, enough about that non-anime weeb stuff. We are an anime podcast. This is Life is Daijoubu, so we will be talking about anime. We've got a loaded show for you all. We've got our, of course, our Made in Abyss talk, which is going to be the show we're going to be talking about. Season 1, spoilers. Nothing else after Season 1. So if you only watch Season 1, no, you don't have to worry about anything else afterwards. Of course, we've got our news, and we've got our little segment of our seasonal shows. I think this time we're going to be talking about the shows that we've enjoyed, at least one of them anyway. And next episode will be the last watch-along episode before we do our seasonal recap. So only one more episode before the season's over, just about. So, but without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the news. So I've got like some smaller ones and then one more. there's some like not controversial ones, but there was two big talking point ones. I decided not to bring them up. I don't know if that's what Thane wanted to bring up or not. I'm kind of assuming that might have been, but
Well, we'll see. If
we'll
you
see.
don't,
I
I'll bring them
guess.
up.
Okay. But yeah, so the one that I've got to talk about, we can just save this one for the end, just because it'll be a fun one to end on. So if we do talk about the ones that I think Thane might have brought up, we'll at least end on something more positive. So the first one I've got is, these are all the anime announcements. So real quick first, Sakamoto Days was confirmed. It was rumored last time we talked about it. It is confirmed now that it is getting an anime. Next up is The Summer Hikaru Died is getting an anime adaptation. Do you guys have any guesses what this was?
I'm gonna say anime original.
Okay.
Probably a manga.
Thane's right. It's a manga.
Yeah.
Dang.
This one you don't really get a guess on it because in the title it explains what it is. It's Ghost in the Shell, new anime. So it's a new Ghost in the Shell by...
We got the two.
Huh?
You got the two.
Oh, these are the two?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. We won't talk about those other ones then. Yeah, so Ghost in the Shell is getting a new anime by Science Saru, which is the people doing Dan to Dan. They did Scott Pilgrim just recently.
From the trailer, I don't know if it's just a re-adaptation, like a more closer adaptation to the manga, since all of them very derivative, the movie and everything, or it's just a new thing. I don't know. It's just kind of a teaser. It's like Ghost in the Shell, the 40th anniversary or whenever it came out.
Oh, dang, that long?
Yeah.
Wow. Mashl's getting a new season. It said sequel. I'm not really sure what it means. I don't think the anime was finished with the manga material, so
yeah,
I'm assuming
it's
just
probably the
continuing.
last season because it's
Gotcha.
a very short manga. So,
all right, and then the last anime announcement is 9 dash the word 9 and then another dash, so 99.
99. Yeah.
It's getting an anime.
Sounds like 86 because it's got
Kinda
86 and then the words 86.
Yeah. It's got the dashes too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what is this? What was this originally?
Sounds like a prequel to 86. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna say manga.
Okay. Any guesses?
Probably a light novel.
Thane's the closest. It was a B shoujo game.
Oh.
So really close was light novel. I threw that one in there just for the curveball. I won't lie. All right. So the last thing we've got, and like I said, this is going to be a more of a fun conversational piece. And so normally every year over in Japan, they do these are the manga that we would like to see animated. They do like a poll in Japan for that.
Uh-huh.
This year, some people on Twitter decided to do what the overseas fans or us, would want to see animated, and they did a top 25. I'll only gather the top 10, and then after I do these, we're gonna all pick one manga that we would like to see animated. All right, so number 10 is Real, which is the wheelchair basketball, correct?
Yeah. It's it. Yeah.
Number 9 is Chojin X, which is
the Tokyo Ghoul guy.
Yep.
This is like follow up.
I read 2 chapters and dropped that one when it was started to come out.
I think it's interesting. I think it's okay.
Yeah. Number
Got
8
good
is,
art.
Yeah, it did have.
Yeah.
I will agree. It had good art. Number 8 is Akane Banashi or Banashi. I don't know how to say it.
I read that one. That's a Shonen Jump one.
Yeah. Number 7 is Goodnight Poon Poon.
That one's gonna be hard. People have said that one's like almost impossible to adapt. Like it probably work better live action if you could, but
You could do it live action and then draw in
Yeah.
Poon Poon.
yeah,
I
kinda
think
like
that could work.
Roger Rabbit style.
Yep, like
Yeah.
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
That I've read that one. That one's it's never gonna be animated. I'm just gonna say that. I don't think
Yeah.
there's ever any way it's gonna be
I'm
animated.
thinking it'd probably be from what I've seen, it'd probably be like a Netflix show or something.
Yeah, Netflix could do it,
Yeah.
but it would be a live action. I think. I
Yeah.
think they could do it live action.
You think they counted anime if you had a drawn character?
I'm sure some people would like
Yeah.
to. Number 6, we real quick. This is the Tatsuki Fujimoto hour right here. Number 6 and 5. 6 is Goodbye Eri, which is that one shot that he did.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is a phenomenal one shot. I've reread it like a week or a month ago. And then number 5 is Fire Punch. which
I love Fire
I've only read
anime.
only read volume 1 of that.
I think it worked better as like a movie duology.
Yeah.
Just 2 movies back to back.
Number 4 is Vagabond. No thoughts on that one?
Oh yeah. I haven't read. I've heard great things. Like it'd be amazing anime.
Is that the one, the big white books with red
Yeah.
on and samurai?
No, I think that's Blade of the Immortal. Vagabond's like the one with the
The
crazy
spines line up
yeah.
with the picture.
Yeah,
yeah.
the
And it
red
is
and
white.
white.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it has got amazing art. If you look at any of the panels, like wow, like no wonder he's taking forever because he just has to like keep like drawing like incredible detailed art. So
Number 3 is one that will almost certainly be animated at some point. It's JoJo Still Ball Run.
yeah, that's probably most likely gonna get it.
What are they doing right now? Stone Ocean.
Yeah, they're done with Stone Ocean.
So this is probably next, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like feels like a bookend on their production. So they're probably just taking a long break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2 is 20th Century Boys. I've not read this one, but
I read the first 2 volumes, and I have a story like
this is your library one,
yeah.
right?
I'm pretty sure I've said it before on the manga or on the other podcast, but yeah, like the library denied me of the rest of the series, so I haven't read it. But I do want to read it someday.
I'd like to read
Yeah.
this one someday as well.
It's also got a movie adaptation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And number 1 is kind of like it's a good pick, but it's also like unfortunate timing because it's Sakamoto Days, which was just confirmed to getting an anime.
It's like the most popular Shonen Jump.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
up there. So those are the top 10 that was on that list. Are there any manga that you guys can think of that you would like to see get an anime?
Kagurabachi.
That was number
Yeah.
15, by the way, if you're
yeah.
curious.
That one's pretty.
I'll give you guys mine while you guys think about it. And I've noticed recently that a lot of my favorite manga that I've been picking,
Yeah.
I've just already gotten anime adaptations.
Yeah.
So mine's kind of like a gimme pick, which will probably never happen. It's the Pokemon Adventure series. I'd love to see that animated, but it's never going to happen.
I don't think there's anything that I'm reading or have read that doesn't have an anime besides a few of the weekly Shonen Jumps. Like
Yeah.
Green Greens. Didn't Blue Box get announced for an anime?
Yep.
Okay, so I think that may be the only one. Unless you count Ghost Reaper Girl, which will never finish. I think that guy's going to die before he even writes anymore. It's sad, but...
Yeah, I think a Kagurabachi anime would be cool. I think it'd work good as an anime.
I think it would look better as an anime. I
Yeah.
think it's going to have the Demon Slayer effect. I think it
Yeah.
would look better.
Uh-huh.
Especially if they get somebody like Ufotable to do it because of like
Yeah.
the way his sword does the
Yeah,
magic
that'd
powers.
definitely be a Ufotable show.
It looks like Demon
Yeah.
Slayer stuff.
Yeah.
So Skylar hates it though, so flame him in the comments, all you Kagurabachi fans.
Yeah, all you Kagurabachi fans, tell me why I'm bad because I didn't read it or I dropped it.
I think it's still fun. I've not
Yeah.
read this week's chapter, but I think it's fun. I did read
Well,
My
dude, just
Heroes
count
chapter though.
Is it over?
There's got one more. I believe one more.
Okay, I haven't read it yet.
This one was titled Epilogue, and then they said there's another chapter coming
Yeah.
next week.
So there's
So-
some news. My Hero's almost over.
So this season that's airing is going to be close to where the manga
There'll probably
ends,
be
right?
one more season after
Yeah.
that.
I think I'm just going to read it. I don't think I'm going to wait.
All right, that's cool. Whatever you want to do, you do you.
I felt so left out waiting for Attack on Titan. It was like a year.
Well, this one doesn't have the Attack on Titan
I
effect.
don't think My Hero's going to be that
Hero's-
slow.
Yeah.
I wonder where this season would end, though. Maybe it'd leave on a cliffhanger.
It'll probably end with this. Spoiler!
Probably end with beep.
That's all the news I had. If you guys had
Yeah.
anything else, feel free to... Nothing?
No.
All right.
Oh, it's just play Xenoblade Chronicles, I think.
Yeah.
Whoa, yo, let's go. I like
Hey,
that.
I'm not-
Give me some.
Hey, we're not gonna title another one.
No, that's anime, right? It's an anime
The
game?
last-
Big
my-
boobs anime?
Big
Yeah,
boobs.
it's an anime game. Hey, Xenoblade Chronicles anime confirmed. I don't know.
Hey, I'm just reading the teleprompter that our producer put up there.
Yeah.
Says, for some reason, it says play Xenoblade Chronicles.
All right. I like that.
Yeah.
We can move on to the next session with that. That's a great ender. I appreciate that.
You know what? Anything into an anime? Xenoblade.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
I don't know if Xenoblade could work. I think
Yeah.
it'd be fine.
Maybe they do a deeper cut.
Here's the
well,
thing,
they already
though.
did a Xeno Saga anime.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, is you could just get on YouTube and watch all the cutscenes.
Yeah, the cutscenes
Yeah.
kind of do
True.
it for
It's
you.
like 12 hours long or something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe a Xenogears anime. I don't know. That'd be
I want to
pretty
play
niche.
the game before.
Um,
I'm going to blow my schnoz. Carry on.
Homie's gonna blow his schnoz. Well, I guess we can move into our next segment while he's blowing his schnoz. Hopefully, you guys can hear it on the microphone. He was sick, by the way, the past couple of days, but he felt good this morning, so here we are. Anyway, moving on to our next thing, we're gonna talk about the seasonal shows that we do like. At least one, maybe two, if you'd want to. I'm gonna go ahead and steal this one before anybody else can talk about it because it's my favorite, and I win. It's the benefits of hosting this show. I get to do it first. It's Mushoku Tensei. I gotta talk about how good how good this show is, and how much I love it, how much I really enjoy the series, and I think they're doing a great job of animating things. So let's start. So Mushoku Tensei, this is part 2 of season 2, core 2, whatever you want to call it. The last 12 episodes. It's like episode 13 through 24 or whatever it is. Anyway, it's doing a phenomenal job, I think. They're doing some really good adaptation stuff. I will say, last episode left out probably an entire chapter of the light novel that we probably won't ever get. That said, it's not vital to the plot. There are some subtle things that come back later, but like I said, they're subtle, and so it's not like the end of the world that we're missing.
You're like those book nerds, like, oh, they left out Dance of Dragons or whatever. Just kidding.
Dancing Dragons?
That's Game of Thrones thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think that was in the show.
I don't even know. Yeah, so I think it's doing a phenomenal job. I'm very much so enjoying it. I'm very hyped for it. I'm once again blown away to see so many people get so down on the show for the earlier 12 episodes, and then now saying the show's good again because it's getting more action-packed. It just tells me that the world only wants one thing, and it's booms and bangs and clink-clangings and boom and boom. You know, that's all they want. They just want Michael Bay to make their life.
Guys, get filtered, you Michael Bay stands. All I could say for people who don't like the slower stuff and don't use their brain, get filtered.
I don't understand why people don't like the slower stuff. It
The
just
world
builds
building.
so much for characters and stuff. It's great.
That'd just be my response. I know it sounds kind of gatekeepy, but if you don't like it, then yeah, just stop watching.
Yeah, I mean, Mushoku Tensei is not the show if you want just action-packed scenes. You'll get that.
I like my show with like world building and stuff.
You'll definitely get the action-packed scenes, and from here on out, there's actually quite a bit of them that I can think of. Like some very cool fights that are going to be very cool to see animated, but you have to go through all the stuff in between, which is some of my favorite parts of the entire series. So, regardless, Mushoku Tensei slaps. I highly recommend you guys start watching it if you're not watching it. There's some freaking banger moments in the series. I will say, this isn't a spoiler, but the season finale of this season will be highly talked about on Twitter. That's all I'm going to say.
Controversially?
I'm not going to say what. I'm
like
just going to say
Twitter, like Twitter, the usual Twitter denizen is going to hate it.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say Twitter will be talking.
Okay, Twitter will be talking.
So to kind of parallel what you were saying with Mushoku Tensei, I had a similar feeling when I first started watching this season of Slime. Because episode 1, it was like, oh, okay, it's like we're getting back into the swing of things. There's some political talks going on. We're planning. Episode 2 is like, okay, oh, more planning and people talking. And episode 3, I'm like, oh, more planning, more talking. Episode 4, I'm like, we're still planning and talking. Like, it's 4 episodes in, and there was an entire episode of just a group of people talking in a room about what they were going to do. And I'm just like, oh, like, I get it. Like, we got some build-up and stuff, but now we're there, dude. We're banging. It's fun. We're fighting. The political stuff is like, we're seeing
Let them cook.
They're cooking. They are cooking. One of the characters that I've been very fond of, his name is Diablo. We're learning more about him, and we're just like, dang, dude, he's fighting. Man, it's fun. I really like Slime, so it was worth the 4 episodes of talking to get to where we are. So that's my pick.
Windbreaker. It's
The Delinquent manga.
Delinquent.
Anime?
Yeah,
it was
it's
a
a
Zelda
manga.
game.
No, that's Wind Waker.
Okay.
No, that's
Not Wind Walker, as some people would call it. Like that's just not people like not
Do
like
people not read.
yeah.
There's no
It's
L
just
in
people
Waker.
can't read.
Whenever I see the name Wind, what is it? Windbreaker.
Windbreaker.
I can't not think of just somebody ripping
Yeah.
it so hard.
Yeah, I know. Very unfortunate name. I've said it. But you could think of it as the people punching the air so fast that it's like breaking the wind.
I don't think anybody can actually do that.
Yeah.
They break
That's-
the
but
sound
that's-
That's
barrier.
an anime.
Yeah, it's an anime thing. That's what they're doing because they're
They're breaking wind.
yeah
Doo-doo.
they're because they're punching each other.
Fart jokes, baby.
I mean, they could have been more accurate and call it face puncher.
I like that. I'd watch
Yeah.
it for that title.
Face breakers. That's a game. That's a video game, I think. But yeah, it's just it's a fun delinquent anime. Some of the best fights, like every like major fight. Like there's been like 3 back-to-back fights that just go hard these past few episodes. It's filled with emotion, filled with drama, bloody faces. It's very, very well choreographed fights. Like some of the best choreography. Like the manga loves, like the mangaka loves fighting so much, and maybe if it's not that good in the manga, the anime production loves fighting, and they got an actual choreographer. If you just look up a fight and be like, wow, I kind of want to watch this show.
Oh, I was saying earlier in the season that I watched a fight on like YouTube or something, and I was like, dang, bro, this is hype. I agree. The choreography looked really good.
And I'm glad it's going to a second season. I mean, a second core. It's not the most deepest thing, but it's still fun. It's really fun.
Awesome.
Just watch it for the fights alone.
Yeah, I mean, I know an audience that would love that.
Do they watch a show called Mushoku Tensei?
No, they don't. Not really
okay.
anymore. Not anymore.
Okay.
They don't.
Going back to that, I don't know why they
this?
complain.
Just in general, like people that only want to watch fighting, and like I was talking earlier.
Okay.
Because like season 1, the first probably handful episodes, there's no fighting or anything.
No.
It's as soon as Turning Point 1 happened, and then from there on, it was just like an action anime. People were going crazy about that. They think that was the peak thing in the world, but it took an entire 12 episodes to get to there. So I don't know why people. I don't know what people are on about.
Also, the people got filtered because of it's problematic or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that pretty much does it for our talk about our seasonal shows. We got our news done. I think it's about time we get talking about our show of the week, which is Made in Abyss. Like I said earlier, full-on spoilers for Made in Abyss. All right, Made in Abyss is a show about a kid named Rico and a robot named Reg, and they're going down into the giant hole in their world and exploring it to find the very bottom where Rico's mom is supposed to be. It's literally the gist of it. There's crazy monsters along the way. There's a lot of incidents they get into, and the first 4 episodes are basically them just like getting hyped to go down. Now we can talk about it. That's my synopsis of the show. I've got a lot of thoughts on this. I will not lie. I've got plenty of ideas and thoughts, but I'd love to hear your guys' ideas and thoughts on it, because I feel like mine are a bit more on the negative side than positive.
Okay. I like the world building. I think the world building is really cool. Each layer feels more dangerous as they go down, and makes it's like, man, what's down there? And there's kind of a negative effect where it's every layer go down, you're fine until you come back up. It's kind of like depressurization if you're down underwater.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not good. Like it's sometimes at worst you vomit, and then sometimes you'll have your mouth and eyes and nose bleeding. Every hole starts bleeding out your face. And then even worse, you turn to a monster.
If you go too fast.
Yeah, if you go down too fast.
I think it's
up too fast. So yeah, this it's kind of like depressurization or dehumanization.
Well, do you remember the episode where Nanachi explains how it works?
Yeah, it's like a spikes. Yeah, it's like there's like
the
you
weird
go.
film.
Yeah, it's kind of like a trap. Like you go down layer, you're fine, but then you try to go back up. There's like metaphorically spikes.
It's hard to get through.
Yeah, it's hard to get through.
And when you do get through it, all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite part too about the entire show. Like the characters are fine, I guess. They're not my favorite, but I love the world building, and that's what really kept me interested is the Abyss. The Abyss as a character, if you will. That is the most intriguing part about the entire show. And like Thane already mentioned, the lower that they go, and I've seen this at the season after this as well. And obviously you just get more of that. It's more craziness, more grotesque. That's one thing the show is too, is like it's very grotesque at times.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh, like I would like quease while I'm watching certain stuff. But yeah, the world, like the Abyss itself is definitely my favorite part, and the catalyst that kept me, not catalyst, it's the driving factor that kept me watching. But I also really like the music. The music in this show slaps, dude.
I've got a lot of thoughts on the show. Like I was saying, a lot of opinions on this show. Okay. I want to get out of the way my favorite things. And then my favorite things are going to lead into things I dislike. So number one favorite thing is the art. I think the art style is phenomenal. I think it's so good. It's such a pretty show to look at. Everything on the screen just looks great. And then the music is just as good. I don't know why they decided to just make the best music they could for the show, but it slaps so good. It's a special show when you realize, wow, the music's kind of hitting right now, you know? But this leads directly into the thing I dislike. It's the character design specifically. As much as I like the art style and the art design, I don't like the character designs at all. It's really weird for me to see little chibis get effed up. I dislike that just personally. I don't think it flows very well on screen. It's a little bit more haunting, and maybe that was the purpose of it.
They look like those Precious Moments characters.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yep. Or like, I was thinking Little Big Planet characters, but not like made out of sackcloth and stuff. So that's my biggest issue with getting into the show. And that honestly was a big block on me getting into the show. It took me like 4 or 5 episodes to actually get kind of invested in it, which is bad in my opinion. If I were watching this as a weekly show back and whenever this aired, I would have dropped it. It's just unfortunate to say, but that's just the case. I would have. And that also leads into the fact that I think Rico. I think Rico's a terrible character. I think she's garbage. I think she gets better, but if she's our main character, we need to like her from the beginning. If you want people to really get invested into the show. And as much as you guys brought up how the Abyss is a character and stuff, and it was fun to get into, I never thought about it like that until you guys barely brought it up right now. I thought it was fun to learn more about it, but I was more trying to get invested into the characters rather than the world around them, because I knew I was going to like the world. I knew the world was interesting. It was the characters that I wanted to be invested into. And I think Rico's terrible. I think she's a bad character. However, the very last 3 episodes with Nanachi and little sludge monster.
Meaty.
Meaty Sky G's. You can't just throw that out there. Like that's rude. So Midi and Nanachi. That's what Rico should have been. That's what they should have done with Rico. And obviously it's supposed to parallel Rico and Reg's relationship. That's the whole purpose of that little character or that relationship between Nanachi and Midi is to show you this parallelism between Rico and Reg. That's the whole purpose, I think, anyway. And that made me like Rico better. But, like I said, this is the kind of stuff that we should have had at the beginning. This is the stuff they should have led with. The banger stuff. They should have hooked people with the banger stuff instead of 4 episodes of hanging out at the orphanage, getting strung up for staying out late, and walking down at the abyss for half a second and like looking at rocks. I didn't need that for 4 episodes. Like, I enjoyed the world building for that. Could have been done on the way down, you know? They could have gone all of that world building stuff out of the way as they progress downwards, rather than jumping through 5 or 3 layers like that. Like, they went through 3 layers very quickly. They could have just had the world building at the beginning. That's how I would have restructured it for me, and those are my biggest complaints overall. Rico's bad character took way too long to get going. And the character design.
Oh, I remember when I first watched the show, I thought, because I think I watched it like 2 years ago. When I first saw it, I'm like, man, would I enjoy this more if the characters were adults and not kids? I don't know if that would have changed anything or not, but there are so many uncomfortable scenes throughout this show where I'm just like, yikes.
So I have a theory on that exact thing you just said. I thought that at first too. I thought maybe I would enjoy this if they were older. I don't think so anymore. It took me till the Nanachi and Midi relationship arc thing to realize, no, I think I do prefer them as kids. And there's 2 specific reasons why. The first one is one of my biggest ones, and it's the fact that they actually act the age that they are. We don't get that in anime very often. You get 12-year-old saving the world. You get Naruto as a 14-year-old saving the entire Earth, his Earth. You know, you get crap like that. This show is not that. You definitely get these kids acting like they're 12, and that's great. That's phenomenal. And then part 2 of it is because they are this age, they're a lot more willing to explore the world, which is why I think a lot of characters are these ages, because they're willing to open up and see what's what, whereas an adult really wouldn't. But it works here because they act like they're that age, you know. They actually feels like they should be exploring and understanding the earth around them, the world around them. I had a specific word for it. Not a word, but like a... Oh, there it is. Okay. It's because it's like Promised Neverland. Promised Neverland is exactly the same thing. It treats kids like they're kids, and they're thrust into this world that's incredibly cruel and hard to deal with. And as a result, they grow in specific ways that the world allows for. And that's what Made in Abyss was able to do. So I was with you at first with what you were saying you thought, how I thought I wanted to be adults, and I think it works better as kids. And actually, this is one of the shows that I can get on board with them actually being a show about kids learning about the world. I took way too many words to get to that point, but I'm glad I'm here.
I think how I've seen the show too is the audience are the children.
Yeah.
Where we are naive at the very beginning. You're very excited to go on this grand adventure of discovering what the abyss is. And then the more you learn about it and see how it affects everyone, it becomes scary, it becomes frightening, and it's like the lower they go, the more discouraged they are because everything sucks. And Nanachi's like that breath of fresh air, which she is the best character.
Oh,
she continues to be the best character in the next season too.
I was nervous that her arc was already done at that point, so I'm glad you say that.
The next season is kind of wild. It mostly takes place in one specific.
Well, they do a movie and then the next season, correct?
Yeah.
I thought the movie was a recap movie.
From what I understand, there's 4 movies. There's 3 recaps of season 1, and then the 4th movie takes place in between 1 and 2.
Maybe I'm thinking of the movie specifically right now then. I don't even freaking remember. I know I've seen all of the Made in Abyss stuff though, so yeah, it's I don't know. I really, really enjoy the show. I think it has some highs. I think it has some lows like you're mentioning. I think my biggest complaint too is it's just very slow in the beginning. But it gets there. It sucks that it takes a while to get there, but it does get there. So
I don't think Rico is as bad as you guys say. I think mostly the excuse is she's a kid. That's my mind's like, oh, she's a kid. She's not used to this kind of thing. Yeah, she'd be dead by now. Most kids would be dead by now. You could have the excuse she has plot armor, but one of her big character traits that she's very knowledgeable. That's what kind of helps her survive. Like she has a lot of knowledge. She can see
of the abyss.
Yeah, of the best. And like, I don't think she's as terrible of a character as you guys say. Yeah, she's very reckless. She makes some dumb decisions, but like my excuse, she's a kid. That's my excuse.
I'm glad you're rebuting this because it's a good talking point. my complaints with her as a character is not the way she acts, it's her personality.
Oh, I don't think that's bad at all.
Yeah, I just don't give a crap about it. There was no reason. The show never gave me a reason to care about her.
I think that Find Your Mother was the perfect reason for me to care about her. Like, oh, she wants to go find her mom because she's a white whistle. She has aspirations. She wants to be this. It's like, okay, like, yeah, she's book smart, but like street dumb, as they say. Like, she like knows things, but she's not. She has zero experience. But I think that makes great character development. I think that already off the bat, I think makes her a potentially great character, and we see a lot of character development for her. I think it works for the type of story they're trying to tell.
Sure, it does. Yeah. It's just when you get all of a sudden you get Nanachi, and you're like, oh shoot, this is what we could have gotten.
Yeah.
I think Nanachi would have been a better main character.
I still think it. I think it helps because like, oh, there's a character that knows more. It helps expand.
Yeah, it shows the experience gap between those two.
Yeah,
sure.
I think that helps Riko's character with Nanachi. It's like, oh, there's a character who joins up that knows more, that character they need. And you realize that, especially after the scene where she's bleeding out of her face, like she almost dies. Like, oh, shoot. Like, you know that they were like, it's way too deep for them. Like, you know that this thing, you know, at the beginning it's already too bad for them and that almost happens, but then they get a character that's good. Like, that's good for them. I think it works fine. Yeah, she's not I say she's not a perfect character, but I think for this type of show, she works.
I was talking with our other buddy about the show, and I told him that my least favorite part was Riko, and that I don't really like Riko. And he's like, well, I can kind of understand you there. The reason why I like Riko is because I like Reg, and Reg cares for Riko.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can get on board with that, because I do like Reg. I think he's an interesting character. He's like basically learning about his own morals and stuff.
Yeah.
Where Riko, in my mind, has a lot of this stuff kind of like figured out because she is book smart. She's kind of like has a lot of her ideals are set in stone already. She's not, in my mind, she's not growing as a like her, I don't know, her personality's not growing. She's still the same person, and like, but she is the smart person about the world. Like, she's prepared about all that, like you said. But when it grows to like her growing as a person, I don't think she's getting that. I don't think she's growing as a person. Yeah, granted it's season 1, but still, I would have liked that in season 1 because she's our main character. This is
a big this is like a big manga. I can understand because there's a lot of there's a lot of like chapters. I think this is monthly, so it's like, okay, like this is season 1. They're trying to set things up. They want more seasons.
You still need a hook though. I don't think they hooked. I don't think they had a hook.
I think they hooked just fine.
I don't think the Abyss was the hook. At least it was for me anyway.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely focus way more hard on characters than I do on anything else when I watch shows, and maybe that's why it just wasn't a hook for me.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, a show with likable characters, that's where the relatability is. If anything, there's no relatability to the Abyss. I mean, what do we have to parallel the Abyss?
The only
besides,
relatability,
I guess, life.
The only relatability I feel to the Abyss is fear. You fear it, and you want to conquer that fear.
See, I think for me it was more curiosity, but like I already mentioned, the lower they go, the more fear arises because you learn more about the world. I think what it comes down to about Riko as a character, though, I guess Riko versus Nanachi is, like you guys already mentioned, personalities. They're two very different characters.
Exactly.
And I think my biggest complaint, I guess it's not even a complaint, more of an observation, and it's like, dang, Riko takes so many L's. She's like a punching bag throughout this entire show.
She definitely is.
And it's like the more I watched, I'm like, dude, like this character's just, she's so useless. But she is a kid, and I don't know. I felt like at times I was like, dude, she's more of a nuisance for Reg.
And like I'm fine with that. I understand. Like that's part of the story. That's the kind of the story they're trying to tell. Like I'm okay with her being a punching bag. I'm okay with her being the nuisance because that's like Reg's arc, right? Is caring for her. I just wish she had more of an arc herself. She doesn't really have an arc. Her arc is literally just, I want to find my mom. That's literally all she's doing. And I would love it if, like, maybe this happens in, like, a season 2 or the movie or something like that. Maybe she has, like, this meltdown where she breaks mentally and then she rebuilds herself as a character because of all the stuff she's gone through. Maybe that happens at some point. That would be kind of cool. I'd be down for that. and then, like I said, rebuilds herself as a character, and she becomes somebody different almost. As of right now, I don't like her character. If it wasn't for Nanachi and Meat Sack's Midi's relationship arc, I would have cared a lot less for Rico. That's for sure. Because, like I said, their characters parallel Rico and Reg, and you can see how their relationship with Reg and Rico are eventually going to play out because of the way these two's already played out. Yeah. I did mention how I think I would have liked Nanachi as the main character. That said, I don't think she is main character material. I think Rico's closer to main character material.
Yeah, her personality doesn't...
No, not at all. And her backstory isn't a main character backstory either. It was clearly written as a side character's backstory. That said, I definitely vibed with it a lot more.
You know, I think people might have agreed with more because what I've heard is that the manga was like about to be canceled until Nanachi was introduced.
Yeah, I believe it. Like
So
it's rough getting to that point. Once you get to that point, though, you're like, I'm in. This is great. We got stakes. We got emotional stakes. I'm so here for this.
That's kind of where the story goes from like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And once again, that was one of my biggest complaints when I was first watching it. But going back real quick to how I said that Rico's like a punching bag, I also think that's really good for showing how deadly the abyss is and how it affects people.
Yeah, like she's not ready for this. She's like in over her head, like how said, she's very reckless. But yeah, like, and it's like, oh yeah, the part where she fights the beast with the poison needles, like she's way in over her head.
Yeah, and the Nanachi arc is not over, by the way. It's I do remember the movie basically takes place right after this.
Yeah, and so
with the robot guy.
As I say, they allude to him. They allude to that guy, the scientist, White Whistle guy.
I can't hate Rico because I have to hate that guy. I have to put all my hate to that guy.
He seems like a dirtbag. I can tell you that.
His name starts with a B. He's an awful person.
Bad guy.
Yeah, bad guy.
I guess one last dig at Rico was that the best part of the show was when she was more or less a vegetable. I'm sorry. It's just how it goes. Yeah, I don't know. And like, I had something else in there. I don't remember what it was. It was just something along the lines of Reg is a better character and he just cares about Rico, so I guess I'll care about Rico too.
Yeah. Also, I didn't like the tall chick. Like,
I
hate the character lady arc where it's like, I'm gonna be an asshole to make you prove a point. It's like, just tell him what you want without being a sadistic bitch.
Yeah, I dislike that kind of a character too, so I'm with you there.
Yeah. It's like, I'm glad they left her because I don't like her.
Her name, what's her name? Ozan? Ozar?
Ozan, I think Ozan, yeah.
Big lady.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, oh, I called her the beetle lady. She looked like a beetle because of her hair.
Oh. I never thought about that. She kind of like does, I guess. I just think of her as the big lady. She's big. She's tall.
Screw you, Aizawa. I like him better.
Wait, who's Aizawa?
He's from My Hero because he actually gets.
Oh, the teacher.
He gets a character arc at least.
Yeah.
He gets better. He gets a better character arc, especially in the spin-off manga. He has like a character arc that should have been in the manga, but they decided to just slip it in the manga and said, I put in information from the spin-off manga. We're not talking about My Hero.
So I guess real quick, just to talk about what comes after. I don't know if you guys will watch any more after this.
I probably will now because I'm a little bit more interested.
I would have already watched more from this first season.
The movie takes place right after this. They find the robot man, and it's all that. And then after that, they go to another, I guess we'll call it a city, if you will, with a bunch of interesting characters.
Is that season 2?
Yeah, that's season 2. The show's very grotesque, though. It just keeps going. It's very creepy.
It's worse.
It's weird. Yeah, it's visceral at times. It's disgusting. Like, it makes you quease a little bit.
It's super interesting because, like, I went into the show expecting that stuff, too. And maybe my hearing about the show put a lot of preconceived notions in my mind about it and thinking about what it was going to be. And it, like I said, it was like, what, episode like 9 or 10 when you see Rico like bleed from all of her eyes and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, this is what people were talking about. Yeah. It took 10 episodes to get there, and I was expecting it by episode 1, and I didn't get episode 1, so I was like, this is a lot more tame than people were saying. And I'm not to say it's tame, because obviously it's little kids getting freaking thrashed. Yeah. But I still think it was a lot more tame than people came out to like said it was.
I think it's because people, myself included, forgot about the first 7 or 8 episodes of the show and just remember the grotesque parts. Because you're not wrong. Like, not much happens. Basically, in the first half of the show, we get, this is the abyss. This is kind of what happens. Rico wants to save her mom. Robot Boy's here. He doesn't remember anything. Let's go.
Yep. Take 6 episodes to do exactly what you just said. And like I said, they could have been doing that as they progressed through the abyss already. That would have been so much cooler, I think. So much cooler. Maybe I just want the big booms and big actions and Michael Bay to direct my life. I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh.
Are you not to swore to destroy?
Not to call you a hypocrite, but
what's ironic though is the part that I actually did like was the character development of Nanachi, not the action scenes from it.
But I guess different strokes for different folks.
I don't actually want the big action booms. I definitely want just character development of things. That's why I like Nanachi's stuff, because it was just character stuff.
Well, based upon what Thane already mentioned too with the manga, I think this, and we've already mentioned
I've heard the manga's much more graphic. They couldn't even show some stuff in the anime, I've heard. So
to boil it down to what I think this show suffers from is excluding the main character. Because I guess that's kind of subjective at this point, but I think it's objective to say that this show struggles with pacing.
Yeah,
I think if you had to boil it down to one thing, that's what it struggles
with. At least this season 1, I'm not sure about the other stuff, but at least season 1, without a doubt, struggles with pacing. Especially when you're like on episode 10, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's show those kids back on the top side and see that little one that's like dying or something. Let's just show him right now.
And then, he's healed for some reason.
Yeah, I'm like, we don't care about this. Why?
I don't even know his name.
I don't know his name. And like, I don't know if you guys watch this English or Japanese, but the teacher guy up there, the purple whistle dude, his voice actor's either his direction was terrible or he was just a bad voice actor.
I watched the sub, so
he not a good direction of that voice acting.
It says, well, we only need you for like 4 episodes.
You just phoned it in, dude. I swear.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, everything after this, it gets better in my opinion. So,
yeah, it must have been like the person was writing the manga and like the editor said, "Hey, you really got to start like
doing something."
And then they said, "Okay, I guess I'll jump to the stuff I had planned later on because
this guy was
I don't think you could whisk this stuff out of thin air. It's like they'd planned this stuff later on, decided to bump it up forward."
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like the show can kind of help you write itself because you're ramping up as you go lower. It's like going down an elevator, I guess. And you could just continue to ramp it up more and more and more. But like you already said, it went from like nothing, and then we bombed through 3-4 layers.
And maybe that's why they did go 3 or 4 layers, because the editor was like, hey, speed it up a bit. And so they just bum rushed 3 or 4 layers like that. Maybe that's the case. So that way it didn't get canceled.
So his first few layers were just way too tame. But like you're saying, we could have explored those first couple layers in the first couple episodes.
And we did. We got to see them go down to those first like 1 or 2 layers, but not much. And then the moment they actually do go down and explore more, they're gone. You don't even see layer 2. It's like done in like 20 minutes or 20. Excuse me. That's the whole episode. It's like done in 5 minutes, the layer 2.
I guess the other thing I wanted to talk about too is just some of the set pieces are just so incredible. I'm like, dude, this guy's whoever. I guess it could be a girl. I don't know who wrote it.
It's a guy.
His brain is insane for coming up with some of the weirdest things. Like
stunning.
The upside down tree section. I'm just like, this is incredibly cool.
The Forest of Temptation.
And then the Xenoblade Chronicles platforms with water on them. That's super dope.
Yeah, the guy who drew this actually he drew character designs before getting into manga. Like he was a big character designer. So you might have seen his designs somewhere around. I'm not sure. From looked up, it's pretty obscure anime and manga, whatever. Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing I
there's-
dislike.
Right,
So.
I was gonna say.
There's a game called Elebits that he did. If you ever played that, he did the creature designs and the character designs, and it's like, oh, that's the Main and Abyss guy.
I guess one other slightly negative thing is that people kept talking about how cool the monsters and stuff looked. I'm kind of on them. I think they're cool, but I don't give that much of a crap about them. They're shown so little that it's just like,
I like the spiky one. He has a lot of screen time.
Yeah, that's why we like him, is because he had the screen time.
Yeah.
And he also made the best arc happen.
Yeah. I like the bird creature, the one that eats people and then they emulate their voice.
Oh yeah. I don't remember
Kind
what
of
it looks
reminds me
like,
of
but
that
I know
bear,
what you're talking
that
about.
bear from Annihilation.
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
the show does a good job of balancing too, though. Like the most broken character still has a downside, where if he uses his Kamehameha, he passes out for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rico's very useless, just very knowledgeable. She's just like carrying around an encyclopedia of the Abyss.
I will say that one episode where Reg was just down the whole episode and Rico was running around with him, that wasn't a bad episode, actually. It was Rico focused and it wasn't a bad episode.
That's like the most helpful Rico you get, because it's like, well, she doesn't have her knight in shining armor now. She's got to figure it out.
My only issue with that episode is that one is just the big bang boom explosions and not a character driven exploratory character mindset chapter.
No,
episode.
that one even so is kind of more for Reg too, because he's like, dang, like this chick I thought was useless, I kind of need her.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I don't know. Like overall, like I said, I think it's a good show. Based on what I've heard, I went in expecting way too high, I think, between the gruesomeness and just how good people say it is. I think it was good. I don't think it was as good as I got hyped up to be, though.
I think people have combined all of Made in Abyss into one.
But no, people were like jerking this off at season 1. It was like one of the best new shows to watch. Like at the beginning, people who haven't read the manga, they were like, yeah, this show's so good.
The artwork and the music carried me through the first 4 episodes, and then the next 4 were like, okay, light at the end of the tunnel, there'll be something better. And then I got to that light at the tunnel, there actually was something better. That was my experience with the show. I've got one theory about what's like something that's gonna happen probably near the end. I think it's gonna be revealed that Reg actually killed her mom. That's my theory. Because we got little glimpses of something in episode 9 or 10, and I was like, oh shoot, I bet Reg killed her.
Is the manga still going?
Yeah, it is at a very slow pace. It's one of those where it's like, yeah, I'm going to take a break for a year.
So maybe I don't want to just keep watching this because I won't be able to finish it anytime soon.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. That's disappointing.
So my theory, I probably won't even find out until 5 years from now if it was right or not.
Unless it gets canceled.
They'll never know.
I think it's too popular to get canceled.
It's insane that they don't write more then.
Yeah. It's good. The guy's pretty old from last time I saw.
I should read the manga then. I'll take the plunge, Cole, and I can keep
You're
you
gonna read
updated.
it?
I was going to read it too at some point.
I'm just going to double check my notes to make sure I don't have anything that I missed. I think I pretty much talked about everything that I
What would you
wanted to
guys
talk
rate this
about.
show?
I give a girl slap on the butt.
I'm giving this an 8, but I'm also biased by taking in what's to come, rating that.
I want to give it an 8 because I really did like the Nanachi stuff, to the point where I was really emotionally invested. I hated seeing the little meat thing that Mitty became. I hated seeing it. Every time that was on screen, I wanted to stab my eyes out because it's that disgusting to me. But the whole arc, that was very emotionally investing to me. So I want to say 8, but I'm going to have to give it a 7 for everything else. So 7. And I'm also not influenced by the rest of the series. So maybe it does get that much more better. And I just need to keep going, I guess. I don't know. I don't have any intention to keep going right away. It's one of those that maybe someday I'll get back onto. In a couple years from now, I'll watch those recap movies of the first season. Speaking of, our buddy that I was talking to, he said, just watch the movies. I'm like, I can't. We got to watch the episodes for the show. And now, in hindsight, I think that might be the best way to enjoy season 1 is just by watching the 3 recap movies. But I don't know. I've not seen them, so I couldn't say if that's the case.
I don't know. I've never watched them either.
It just might be better paced. But that's my thoughts on the show.
Got any final thoughts, thing?
I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think that pretty much does it. Sky, you didn't have anything final?
No, that was pretty much it.
That's pretty much our show for today. We're going to go ahead and pick one more show before we get our seasonal recap. So in 2 weeks from now, the next episode will be Thane's show that he picks, and then 2 weeks after that will be our seasonal recap of the, what is it, spring anime season, and we're going into the summer season next. So one more show. What is it going to be, Thane? What will we be watching over the next 2 weeks?
It's going to be Ghost in the Shell Arise. It's a reimagining of the of Ghost in the Shell. Has no connection with any previous material. Specifically, I'm thinking the 10-episode anime. There is a 5-episode OVA, which covers the same basic plot, but I think the 10-episode anime expands it a bit. So there you go. There is a movie afterwards. You don't have to watch that. Just the 10-episode anime.
Ghost in the Shell Arise. All right. Is Scarlett Johansson going to be in it that I can enjoy?
She's not Japanese, damn it.
Dang. Until next time, everybody, have a great life. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.